you want to feel these words? Why did he give us these words? Why did he give us 365, 700 pages? And yo, I'm gonna read something real quick. I didn't discover this until I finished this little edit with the white edition, and I did a recording about it. But the very first page gives up the plot of this 700 pages and these 365 lessons. The very first page gets it done. Now, for real, again, I ain't judging nobody or nothing. That's not my part in this. My part is to release all of that. And just as like a little FYI, the white edition and the sparkly, the first page of the white edition and the sparkly is different than the first page of the FIP because of the edit. Teddy, thank you, Teddy, got the guidance to take the, what is it called? Use of terms. Thank you. The use of terms, he got the guidance to put it in the front of the book. And for real, I had the FIP. I use the FIP. I use the FIP up. It has served me well. I ain't mad at the FIP. I'm not mad at the FIP. However, the use of terms in the FIP is way in the back of the book, way behind Manual for Teachers. Manual for Teachers, I was not interested. I wasn't trying to be a teacher, so I didn't think I needed to read Manual for Teachers. That's my confession. It's really good though. It's really good. But at the time, I never got to the use of terms because you would have to go through the Manual for Teachers. So I never got there. It wasn't until I finished this and I felt like, let me read this. Let me just read this now that I've been in just like editing mode where I was just like, my focus was not, let me read. And when I read this, I was like, holy shit, the first page. I'm going to read it real quick. I didn't plan on doing it. I'm going to read it real quick because I love it so much. He says the very first sentence. He says, this is not a course in theoretical philosophy. For real, Jesus is 700 pages. But no, he says, this is not a course in theoretical philosophy, nor is it concerned with precise terminology in connection with origins. This would be helpful to read this right away. This is not a course in theoretical philosophy, nor is it concerned with precise terminology in connection with origins. It is concerned only with atonement or the correction of perception. Third sentence, the means of the atonement is forgiveness. What does he say? The miracle worker's only responsibility is to accept the atonement for themselves. That's what he says. Third sentence, he says, it is concerned only with that atonement or the correction of perception. And the means of the atonement, in case you don't know what it is forgiveness. The structure of individual consciousness is essentially irrelevant because it is a concept representing the original error or the original sin. To study the error itself does not lead to correction if you are indeed to succeed in overlooking the error. Oh, and it is just this process of overlooking at which the course aims. All terms are potentially controversial. And those who seek controversy will find it. Yet those who seek clarification will find it as well. They must, however, be willing to overlook controversy, recognizing that it is a defense against truth in the form of a delaying maneuver. Theological considerations as such are necessarily controversial since they depend, this is cool, let me say this one more time. Theological considerations as such are necessarily controversial since they depend on belief and can therefore be accepted or rejected. Jason, we're just talking about your belief, right? It's a belief in the mind. It's just a belief in the mind. It's just a belief. It can be accepted or it can be rejected. But this is what he says after that. Let's say it again. Theological considerations as such are necessarily controversial since they depend on belief and can therefore be accepted or rejected. My eye. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible, but necessary. One more time, I don't think you heard me. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible, it's necessary. Then he says, it is this experience toward which the course is directed. The experience, he said it on the very first page. Not my understanding of the concepts. Not how I can go to chapter this real fast. No, experience. It is this experience toward which the course is directed. Then he goes, here alone consistency becomes possible. Because here alone uncertainty ends. Here alone we can be consistent with an experience. An experience. That's where consistency is. And that's where uncertainty ends. That's where my doubting ends. So I'm not interested. I want an experience. I want an experience. This course, he concedes here, remains within the ego framework where it is needed. So these concepts, these workbook lessons, all that stuff is needed within this framework. Forgiveness is not necessary in heaven. It's only necessary on the horizontal. So right here, we need that. We need to overlearn the course in order to learn the course and eventually to let go of the course, because he says that too. In the same book, he says you can let this go too. And would you please hurry up? Hurry up. So this course, while we got it and we're going to use it, remains within the ego framework where it is needed. It is not concerned with what is beyond all error because it is planned only to set the direction towards it. Towards what? Beyond all error. Therefore, it uses words which are symbolic and cannot express what lies beyond symbols. This part here, it is always the ego that questions because it is only the ego that doubts. The Course merely gives another answer once a question has been raised. However, this answer does not attempt to resort to inventiveness or ingenuity. These are attributes of the ego. The Course is simple. It has one function and one goal. Only in that does it remain wholly consistent, because only that can be consistent. The ego will demand many answers this Course does not give. It does not recognize as questions the mere form of a question to which an answer is impossible. The ego may ask, how did the impossible occur? What a crazy question to ask. Think about that question. How did the impossible occur? To what did the impossible happen? Listen to that. That's crazy. But the ego asks it, right? That's crazy. How did the impossible? I just said it's impossible. How did the impossible occur? Ego. To what did the impossible happen? It's impossible. And may ask in many forms. Lester Levinson says something about that. He says, every question that you ask me is in denial of what I just told you. Mr. Levins is like, you're the Christ, and every question that you ask me is trying to get me to confirm that you're right and I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Every single question. All right. How did the impossible occur? To what did the impossible happen? And may ask in many forms, yet there is no answer. Only an experience. Only an experience. Then he says on the very first page, he says, seek only this and do not let theology delay you. I'm going to stop here because it's going to go on to another page. And you're welcome. I won't do that. But as we read the first 50.